Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Gardener. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's July 25th. Are you growing Cleome? My daughter just had her senior pictures taken, and I took some cuttings from the garden for her to hold during her photo shoot. For one of the pictures, I had her hold just one large white blossom of Cleome in her hands. It looked like a giant puffball, and it had a very ethereal quality about it. Cleome is beautiful, but it's also sticky, so keep that in mind if you handle it. I know some gardeners have no trouble sowing Cleome directly into their gardens, but some gardeners complain that it can be an inconsistent germinator. I like to sow Cleome right now since the seeds like strong light to get going. Sometimes Cleome can benefit from staking, so keep that in mind as well. And if you have a cutting garden, it's hard to beat Cleome. The blossoms are a show stealer in any arrangement. Here's today's brevities. The Botanic Garden at Oxford, also known as the Physic Garden, was founded on this day in 1632. The garden is the oldest in England. When the garden was founded, the ground where the garden stands had been raised to protect it from floods. During the founding ceremony, dignitaries of the university walked in a procession from St. Mary's Church to the garden. Mr. Edward Dawson, a physician, and Dr. Clayton, the Regius Professor of Medicine, each gave a speech, and a stone was placed in the garden gateway by the Vice Chancellor himself. And today is the birthday of William Forsyth, who was born on this day in 1804. Forsyth was a Scottish botanist. He trained as a gardener at the Physic Garden and was an apprentice to Philip Miller, the chief gardener. By 1771, Forsyth himself took over the chief gardening position. 3 years later, Forsyth built one of the very first rock gardens with over 40 tons of stone collected from the land around the Tower of London, and even some pieces of lava were imported from Iceland for the rock garden. The effort was noted for posterity, but the garden itself was a bust. Forsyth was also a founding member of the Royal Horticultural Society, and of course, the genus Forsythia is named in his honor. And it's the anniversary of the death of the English poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who died on this day in 1834. Along with his friend William Wordsworth, Coleridge helped found the Romantic movement in England, and he was a member of a group called the Lake Poets. In his poem called Youth and Age, Coleridge wrote, "Flowers are lovely. Love is flower-like. Friendship is a sheltering tree." And on this day, in 1938, the Canadian naturalist Charles Joseph Sariel shared his garden with a toad. He wrote, "One particular toad has taken quite a fancy to the wildflower garden. His den is alongside the hepatica. There he sits, half buried, and blinks up at me while I shower water on him." In unearthed words, here are a few English proverbs about the month of July. If the 1st of July be rainy weather, it will rain more or less for 4 weeks together. And the glowing ruby should adorn those who in warm July are born. Then will they be exempt and free from love's doubt and anxiety. Today's book recommendation is The Fragrant Path by Louise B.B. Wilder. This is a wonderful guide to the cultivation of scented flowers. The newly revised edition includes modern varieties of flowers as well. Wilder is a garden writer from another era. She was born in 1878. But her books continue to be published because they are so charming and they contain a wealth of horticultural knowledge. And speaking of knowledge, here's today's garden chore. Go to the local farmer's market, not for the produce, for the knowledge. The growers at the farmer's market have an expertise about growing that is often an untapped resource. Plus, the growers are so generous with their information, and it's always a pleasure to talk to someone who has first-hand knowledge about growing plants. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. Today, in 1874, newspapers shared a wonderful story with a headline called A Case of Floral Offerings. The story was from Berlin, and it told of an actress who was playing the role of a female Hamlet. She wanted to have bouquets and wreaths thrown at her feet at the end of her performance. When a man told her that the flowers would cost $20, the actress said it was too much for one night. But the gentleman had an idea. He said $20 would be sufficient for 2 nights, and he explained how it would work. He said, "Today, I and my men will throw the bouquets to you from the first floor. After the performance is over, I'll take the flowers home with me in a basket and put them in water. Then tomorrow night, we'll toss them at your feet again. No one in the audience will know that the flowers have been used before." The actress liked the man's ingenious plan, and she paid the sum he had demanded. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.